So we're here in New Zealand. We're currently sitting in Christchurch. It's a little bit rainy outside, a little bit cloudy. So we figured we'd give you an update, kind of going through our travels we have been going through in New Zealand.
So we flew into North Island. We started in Auckland, coming from Honolulu, and um, our initial plan was to head right down to South Island and chase the weather north because being in New Zealand, the seasons are opposite from what we're used to, and it gets colder the further south you go. So that plan, like the first of many, have changed quite quickly. And because the airline that we flew on lost both of my bags, we decided to spend a little bit more time on North Island so the bags could reach us.
So we spent a total of 4 days in Auckland, waiting for bags, kind of exploring the city. It's very much like any other city. It's very big. It's chaotic. There's a lot of people inside of there. That's where we purchased our car, Lucille. Pictures of Lucille here.
Day one.
Day one. After that, we started to really explore North Island.
So, since we were hanging around waiting for my bags to show up, we decided to spend a little extra time on North Island. We headed up to Coromandel Peninsula, where Val valiantly took the lead in learning how to drive on the other side of the car and the other side of the road. I was too panicked. It took me a little while. And then, so we spent $20 per person staying at a holiday park there, and we figured we'd have more time to explore the peninsula, so we headed down to Rotorua. And again, we paid $20 per person for our campsite there. We were like, oh, this is going to be too expensive. I'm not too sure how people sustain like this. We did some calculations, and it's kind of like close to what we were paying for an apartment in Hawaii if we were paying that every night. It was in the Rotorua Holiday Park. Found out about free dock sites. So DOC stands for Department of Conservation, and they run most of the campsites around North and South Island. From there, we went on CamperMate, which is an app that we've been using not so much anymore, but in the first part of our trip, and we stayed on a private driveway. So we were able to get Wi-Fi to plan the next pieces of our trip, and there was water, drinkable water. So it was everything that we needed. From there, we had done a little detour to a waterfall in the area, and we met a couple of Canadian gals who recommended a couple places for us to check out. They've been on the island a little bit longer than we had at that point. So they recommended we head north and check out Omamari, Cape Reinga, and Waipu Caves.
So from the Waipu Caves, where we actually saw bunches of glowworms inside of there, we went down to...
For free.
We went down to... Where?
Tarangi.
Tarangi, and Tarangi is where we did the Tongariro Alpine Crossing, most famously known for its trek alongside of Mount Toon from Lord of the Rings.
We started on the south part of it, so if you start in Taupo, you end in Tarangi. If you start in Tarangi, you end in Taupo if you're just doing the day crossing.
Mm-hmm. And if you're looking at doing something like that, I would highly recommend purchasing the shuttle. The shuttle will let you park your car inside of their private car lot for the entire day, or for as long as you need to hike. They will shuttle you from their car park to the entrance or to the trailhead, and then when you're done, they have a couple of different hours that they come by and pick you up. So they pick you up and drop you back off at your car, so you don't have to worry about being parked longer than the allotted time for a car park, because some of the few car lots only allow you to park for 4 hours, and it took us about 6 hours to do the entire trek. So you would either have to do a quarter of the trek and then hike back out and get back to your car, or try and bust through it really quickly, which would not be as fun. You don't have a chance to stop and take pictures or eat a lunch or anything like that.
And you'll want to do both. Take a lot of photos and eat lunch, for sure.
Also, if you're going to do it, try and do it early in the morning. 1, you beat the crowds. 2, you beat the heat. Also, bring lots of water.
Lots of water.
Mm-hmm.
Some groups, if you do a tour with them, they'll give you walking poles and a guide, but the trail itself is pretty straightforward. So we just opted for doing the shuttle and getting dropped off and picked up.
Yeah, so from there, we went from the Alpine Crossing to Napier. So from Napier, we made the quick book all the way down to the south end of North Island, down to a campsite called Bucks Road, um,
It's one of the free dock sites,
another free dock site.
and then we headed down to Wellington. Wellington was probably about an hour away, so once we got there, we went to the Tea Papa Museum, which is amazing, and we only had a couple hours there, but we would spend days there taking in all of the information. Um, and it's just a really well curated museum. It's beautiful.
So from the Te Papa Museum was the end of our trip on North Island. We had to catch our ferry. So from there, we drove to the ferry, which was quite literally about a 2 minute drive, and sat inside of a queue for 30 minutes or so, waiting to get on board. Then from there, we hopped on. They loaded our car. And we took the 3 hour ferry ride to Picton.
Through the Marlborough Sands, which are amazing and beautiful and totally worth it.
Absolutely. And that would begin our South Island trip, which we've done a majority of our trip has been on South Island. But that's still to come. More of an update from there. But we wanted to give you guys an update. We get lots of questions of what we've done, what our favorite parts are, where we've gone, what we're doing to stay busy. We didn't woof or anything on the first part of the trip. That was quite literally the South Island, and there will be lots more to come from there. So stay tuned. Stay ready for an update. We'll see you guys later.